Okay. Hi, I'm Diana, and this is Guffy, a great horned owl, and we are with you live from the Nature and Wildlife Discovery Center in Pueblo. Um, we are visiting our Raptor Center this morning, and a Raptor Center is a wildlife rehabilitation facility that specializes in the care of injured, ill, and orphaned birds of prey. Now, Guffy is one of our Raptor ambassadors, which means that he is a bird that can't return to the wild. And actually, she, excuse me, and has a personality that tolerates life with humans very, very well. And she helps us do our job. And our job is to, as I mentioned, help raptors, or as they're also known, birds of prey. And of course, those things are owls and hawks, eagles, falcons, vultures, osprey, harriers, kites. There's all types of birds that are in that group, bird of prey, and we help them in two ways. One way that we help them is, of course, by taking care of them when people find them sick, ill, orphaned. Maybe they've been hit by a car, maybe they have an illness, maybe they've been lost from their parents due to a storm. And folks just like you and I, we come across them when we're just out doing our daily activities. And of course, we want to find some help for them when we do find them in distress. And that's what the Raptor Center is here for, to help that group of birds. Now, our center specializes in birds of prey, but there are other wildlife rehabilitators all over the state and actually all over the world that help out different types of animals. So there are people who take care of birds like robins and sparrows, chickadees, those kind of guys. There are folks who care for foxes and bears and mountain lions. There are people who do squirrels and turtles and snakes. So wildlife rehabilitation is quite an extensive, and usually, no matter what the animal, we can usually find care for it. Now, the other way that we help these birds out is by teaching about them. And that, of course, is Guffy's job. She travels with us to teach people all about birds of prey. Now, today, for some reason, she's a little nervous. Let me get her up on the glove. There she goes. I think she saw our resident cat go by. They don't like each other, so we usually keep them separated. But anyhow, Guffy, of course, is a bird of prey. Now, birds of prey aren't necessarily all related to each other, but they are grouped together because they share things in common. And one thing that all birds of prey share in common is what they like to eat. And that, of course, is animals. Birds of prey are all carnivores, which means they need to get all their nutrients from the animals that they're eating. So, being a great horned owl, Guffy eats a variety of animals. She might eat something as tiny as a grasshopper, all the way up to something the size of a rabbit or even a skunk. And in fact, great horned owls are one of the few predators that skunks have to worry about. Now, if you're going to eat an animal, you have two options. You can either find an animal already deceased and scavenge upon its body, or carcass as it's called, or you can find an animal alive and hunt it. And Guffy is definitely equipped to do both things. Her preference is to find something alive and hunt it. And she has some amazing tools or adaptations built into her body to help her do that. And actually, it's these adaptations that birds of prey have that put them in the group together. So first, you have to find your prey. So Guffy would hang out. Now, she is an animal who we consider nocturnal, and well, actually, she's more what we call crepuscular. And crepuscular means they're active at dawn and dusk. So Guffy likes to hunt right after the sun sets. I don't know if you've ever been out walking at that time, right after the sun drops behind the mountains or the trees in your neighborhood, or the prairie, whatever it is where you live. But once the sun goes down, there's this wonderful light, this twilight. And actually, for humans, it gets difficult for us to see in that light. But as an owl, her eyes are built to take advantage of that light. In fact, they're so huge. I don't know if you can notice. Let's see if I can get Guffy to look at you. She seems to be looking off at something else more interesting than us today. But anyway, she has these huge eyes. And with Guffy so close to my face, you can see that her eyeballs actually probably are bigger than mine, even though her head is so much smaller. Birds of prey have these massive eyes to help them look for their prey. If they're a day hunter, like a falcon, their eyes are built for seeing things far away. They have long distance vision. If you're an owl, your eyes are built for the twilight. They're built for low light conditions, or they have nocturnal vision. So they see really well in the dark. But regardless of it's being nocturnal vision or distance vision, birds of prey all have massively large eyes. And Guffey's eyeballs are so big, they literally take up over 1/3 of the space in her skull. So that's a pretty impressive size eyeball. And you know what? If your eyes are that huge and take up that much space in your skull, you really don't have much room to move them around. Like you and I, we can roll our eyes, do all kinds of goofy things with them because we have muscles to move our eyeballs. Guffey, because hers are so big, she can't move them. She has no muscle structure to move her eyes. Her eyes are actually fixed in their sockets. So if you can't move your eyeballs, guess what? You get to move your head. And this is true of almost every bird. They actually can turn their heads completely backwards. You and I can't do that. If we rotate, we can only maybe go a quarter of a circle, maybe to our shoulders. We can't continue turning our head backwards, but an owl can. Now, I don't know if I can get Guffey. Nope, she's not going to cooperate today. Sometimes as I turn her body, I can get, oh, there we go. I'll ask her to. Look at how she's turning. She's resisting. She's like, I'm not doing that for you today, Diana. But trust me, she can rotate her head completely backwards. So that's another awesome tool that birds have, not just birds of prey, but all birds. So Guffey would look for her prey with her eyes. Now, even though she can see very well in low light conditions, it's still difficult to find prey because prey don't always hang out in the open. If you've ever been out and about looking for animals like rabbits or mice or snakes or things, they're usually not in the open. They like to hide out under things. So they're usually in the grasses, in the rocks, under bushes. So they do have to hide out because if they don't, you got it. They're going to be dinner. Exactly. So owls have an extra tool that most other birds of prey don't. They actually have excellent listening. And to help them do that, you'll notice around each of Guffey's eyes, she sort of has this circle pattern of feathers, and that's called a facial disc. And what that disc of feathers does is it helps her to capture sound. Now, you and I have have a similar tool. We have this lovely ear. We have our external ear flap, and its job is to collect sound and funnel it down into our ear. So instead of using skin and cartilage like we do, Guffey and other owls use the feathers on their face, and they're very good at listening. She can hear things much better than I can. Guffey, if she were out hunting, she could find a mouse just by hearing it eating a seed. And if you've never heard a mouse eat a seed, all you have to do is snap the ends of your fingernails. Click, click, click. You hear that? That's what it sounds like when a mouse is eating food. So Guffey would listen for that little click. There she goes. She's like, ooh, mouse. And she could use her ears and her amazing hearing to actually locate where the mouse is hiding in the grass. She doesn't have to see her food to catch it. If she can hear it, she's actually so good at listening. She can pinpoint location with those ears and then chase after it. So she's got this amazing set of tools. So chasing is next. So first you find, then you chase. And that's where wings come in. I'm going to step back just a little bit and I'm going to ask Guffey to open up her magnificent wings. Whoa, 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 whoa. She got too excited. Let me up. Hey, Guff, what are you doing? Let me get her up 1 second. She got so excited, she flapped right off my hand. Come on, Guffey. It's all right. Up, 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 up. Come here. Where are you going? Oh, Guffy. Come on. Up, up, up. What's up? Something startled you. Come on. Come on. Back up. There she is. Okay, there we go. You never know what's going to happen when you're working with an animal as a sidekick. So anyway, she has those magnificent wings. Did you see how big they are? And if you're listening, you probably notice you don't hear them very well. Well, that's because these beautiful wings built for chasing, they're also in an owl, the feathers are very soft and they are actually built for silent running. When she flaps her wings, she makes very little sound, if not any at all, so that she can still listen as she goes, following her food to chase after it. And also, because she doesn't make any noise, the prey can't hear her coming, which is wonderful. And I like to think about owls as stealth bombers. They don't make any noise when they fly. It's dark usually when they're hunting, so nobody can see them coming. So they just sneak right in on their prey. They kind of just swoop in like a stealth bomber would. And at the last second, once they're right over the prey, they'll drop down out of the sky, feet first, and slam on those those feet on top of their prey, or if you like, drop their bombs. So on birds of prey, they have these amazing feet. They're very large. Let me move in close so you can see her feet. Oh my goodness. She has these long, beautiful toes. And then, of course, at the end of the toes, she has those very famous claws, the talons. I don't know if you can see them very well against my dark glove. There we go. Guff, can you show them? There you go. Oh, here's a nice one. Look at that talon. This is her tool for catching and killing her food. And it's actually quite impressive. Now, Guffy, she weighs about 3 pounds. Birds are very lightweight creatures because they fly. Everything about their body is engineered to be lightweight and to fly. In most birds, some birds don't fly, but most of them do. But what's really impressive is this 3 pound owl has literally over 100 pounds of squeezing power in her toes. In humans, most humans have about 80 pounds of squeezing power in our hands, and look how huge we are. Here she is, this tiny little bird, and she has over 100 pounds of squeezing power in her toes. So you could just imagine if you were a rat and she grabbed hold of you, she could just literally squeeze you to death with the power in her toes. And as a bonus, not only does she have all that power, but those talons that are under the end of the toes, oh my goodness. When she does grab, you can imagine where those sharp talons would go. And that's right through the body of her prey. And that's important. It's actually an important tool so that she can catch and kill her prey very quickly so that it can't escape. Also, birds of prey use their feet not just for catching and killing, but it's also their defense weapon. If Guffy, when I wasn't there when Guffy was found, but it's very possible when Guffy was found injured, she tried to defend herself, which in birds of prey, they flip over on their backs and then they put their feet right out in front and they strike at you. And that's their way of defending themselves. And trust me, you do not want to be on the receiving end of a great horned owl in a bad mood because they will drive those talons right through your hand. Even this glove I'm wearing, it's only for day-to-day scratches. If Guffy squeezed, her talons very easily go right through the glove, right through my hand. Fortunately for me, Guffy is a sweetheart, and and I'm not doing anything to provoke her, so she's not going to cause me any harm. So it's just amazing. Then once you catch your prey, you can eat it. Of course, you don't take it home and stick it on the wall. No, no, you eat it. So to help birds of prey eat, they have these long, sharp, hook-shaped beaks to help them tear their food into pieces that they can swallow. So if Guffy catches a rat, she will hold it in her foot and she will tear that rat into chunks that fit down her throat. And she can swallow some big things. If Guffy wants to, you can tell she's panting. It's a little hot out here today. She's got a little bit of pant going on to cool herself off. That's why you see her um, um, throat is flashing in and out. That's because she's panting and cooling herself, much like a dog would. So, and she's okay. We're okay. She's just a little warm and cooling herself. I'm sweating. She's panting. So that's how it works. But anyway, when you probably notice, she has a very large mouth when it's open, and she can actually swallow an entire mouse in one gulp. So that's really quite an amazing tool that she has. When she does eat an animal, she will, if it's small enough, eat the entire animal. And that's actually important. Birds of prey need to eat the whole animal to get complete nutrition. You and I are a little bit different. When we eat animals, we eat the meat. We usually just eat the meat from them. But Guffy, she'll eat the meat, but she also eats the organs. She'll eat the heart, the liver, the lungs, the bones, the brain. She eats the eyeballs, the heart, all of that stuff. She needs it. It's how she gets nutrition. For example, if I want to eat something healthy for my eyeballs, I'd eat a carrot. That's great. Guffy, she can't eat a carrot. So to get nutrients for her eyeballs, yep, you guessed it. She eats somebody else's. That's how she gets good nutrition. I want to get healthy stuff for my my bones and my teeth. I drink milk. Guffy does not drink milk. Poor thing, she can't have ice cream. How sad for her. But anyway, she can't drink milk. She can't get calcium from plants or anything like that. So she gets her calcium. Yep, from the skeleton of the animal. You got it. So it's just amazing what's going on. So she gets all of her nutrients by eating all the parts of an animal. That's why when I always teach about carnivores, when I say, oh, okay, I ask people, what's a carnivore? And everybody's hand goes up, oh, it's a meat eater. You know what? That's correct. But it's not a complete answer because carnivores generally eat the whole animal. They eat all the different parts so they can get complete nutrition. That's the way that is done. You and I, we eat plants and animals to get complete nutrition. Guffy eats complete animals. Now, she does have a problem though when she eats whole animals. not every part of the animal can be digested. You probably notice when you eat food that when your digestion is complete and it goes through your system, that your body makes waste. We have liquid waste, which would be our urine. We typically call that number one, right? And then we have solid waste, our poo, and that we call number two, right? Well, owls, birds of prey are the same way. They have liquid waste, they have solid waste. It's just that they deliver it a little bit different than you and I. We have two locations to store our waste and get rid of it. Owls have one. So her liquid and her solids get mixed together and are ejected from her vent or cloaca um, at the same time. And that's why when you look at bird doo-doo, it's black and white. The black is the urine excuse me, the white is the urine and the black is the solids. However, some of the solids that she eats are actually too difficult to be broken down into small enough pieces to pass completely through her digestive system. So things like bones, like if she swallowed a mouse, she'd swallow the mouse whole, which means the bones all go into her stomach intact. The skull is in one piece. And her body, she can't break that down with her stomach digestive enzymes. Nope. So when it's time for the mush in the stomach to be pushed out into her intestines, those large undigestible things like bones and teeth, fur, feathers, toenails, rocks, plant life, anything that she's picked up when she ate, are too large to go into the intestines and they remain in the stomach. So, what birds of prey do is they take those undigestible leftovers in their stomach, and the stomach, being a powerful muscle, actually will compress all of that undigestible material into a very, very tight little ball. And once that ball has been formed in her stomach, she has to get rid of it, which means it can't go through the digestive system. It can't go through the intestines. It's too big. So, yep, it comes out where it went in. She is going to throw up or regurgitate her pellet. Now, scientists have a way of saying, instead of saying the owl pukes a pellet, which is just gross and disgusting, we say the bird of prey casts its pellet. Isn't that elegant? The bird of prey casts its pellet. Well, there's nothing elegant about it when they do it. They, regurgitate it, and this slimy, packed ball of fur and feathers and things comes out, and it's disgusting. Yeah. But you know what? You let it dry out in the sun for a day or two, and you have this little mystery package that you can pull apart. And by looking at the bones and the contents of the pellet, you can usually tell what that owl has been eating, which is a really wonderful tool for us to use to learn all about what birds of prey are eating. Now, Guffy came to us. She had an accident. She was hit by a car. Actually, she hit the car. Guffy was trying to cross a road one evening and smashed right into the side of a car on Highway 9 near Guffey, Colorado. Well, the folks in the car, felt the hit. They said, "What hit our car?" They thought maybe a rock had rolled down the hill and dented the car. So they stopped, and there was a little dent. And they went back up the road to see what had hit. And they discovered not a rock in the road, but a great horned owl, which was Guffy. And they, luckily for Guffy, one of the passengers in the car was the local vet, which is really cool. She scooped Guffy up very safely with a towel, took her back to the clinic, and treated her for head trauma. She hit very hard with her head. This side of Guffy's face was all swollen and bruised, and her eye, oh, it was a mess. And the vet took care of her and then brought her to our center in the morning for continuing care. Well, eventually this all healed fairly well, except for a couple of things. Guffy does have some nerve damage on her face underneath and can't really move her feathers. Birds actually can move their feathers on command, and Guffy can't do that anymore. So it actually impacts her ability to hear. So that's one reason she can't go back. But the big reason she can't go back is actually why she hit the car, and that is she damaged her wing. Some point before she ever flew into the car, Guffy had broken this wing, and no one ever found her. No human came across her. It just healed up on its own. And as you can see by the twist, you can see this is all out of position here. And if I go around to the other side, which you've been looking at, this is all beautiful and tucked up very nicely. But on this side, it's twisted, and we can't repair that. Our veterinarians tried very, very hard to do some work. And when they did x-rays and all the testing that they do, they actually said, "Hey, you know what? I think we're going to do more harm to Guffy by trying to do surgery and fix that." than maybe if we don't do anything at all. And they suggested some physical therapy. And that's what we did do with Guffy for several months. Guffy was exercise. She did some physical therapy. We were trying to see if we could, with manipulation, help that wing move back into a better position. But unfortunately, after a long time and working with our veterinarian, we all decided that it's not going to happen. Guffy's never going to be able to fly perfect again. But what we did learn during that time is that Guffy is a very patient girl and she seemed to have a wonderful personality and tolerated humans very well. And so we asked permission for her to remain with us to be an educational ambassador. Now, all birds of prey are protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. So we do have to have permission from the United States Fish and Wildlife Service for Guffy to remain with us. Unfortunately, at our center, we have that. And that's really wonderful that we can have the birds to share them with you. Well, we are hoping that you're doing well. Our center, of course, is located in Pueblo. Due to the coronavirus right now, we are not open to visitors, but we are beginning to do some outreach programs to schools and things like that. If you have questions or would like to learn more about birds of prey, you're very welcome to contact the Nature and Wildlife Discovery Center at hikeandlearn.org. And the staff on that do the email will be happy to pass those questions on to you. Hopefully, once the coronavirus is lifted, we'll be open again to visitors and we can welcome you into our center to visit us at this time. So once again, you're visiting the Raptor Center at the Nature and Wildlife Discovery Center in Pueblo. We hope you've enjoyed meeting Guffy and are having a great day at the Cool Science Festival. A little bit different this year with us being virtual, but we're so excited to be part of this wonderful program once again. And hopefully next year we'll see you in person. Thanks so much. We appreciate your time and be safe and well out there.
Thank you so much.